So I thought we'd do you a quick tour of the site we're staying at for our week down in Cornwall. We're effectively staying in a CL, so that's a certified location, which is part of the Caravan Motorhome Club. We're in a little village just on the outsides of Camborne, and to be fair, we cannot fault the CL we're staying at all. It's a beautiful little site. It was set up a couple of years back. The owner, Chris, is a motorhomer himself, so he knows exactly what he's talking about in terms of the way it needs to be set up. So some good little quirks he's got on the go. But I'll do a quick little tour of how the site is set up and what he's got to show you on there, and see what you think. And hopefully, if there's something that interests you and you're sort of staying in that area, or you're weighing up staying in that area, it's somewhere good for you to pop down, support somebody that's new and up and coming, and help him find his feet in the CL industry, because it's hard for him. I mean, ultimately they set up these incredible sites, and it's only through word of mouth that they start to get any interest in them. So we'll give you a quick little tour and see what you think. So for the site itself, as you come down the road, you then come up to the main set of gates into the side. So you've got a large gate, so it's plenty big enough for the caravans. So I mean, ours is a twin axle, quite long, and you know there was more than enough space. Small little hedgerows down the side, and it is directly opposite the King Edward's Mine Museum. We've not explored there, but from what we've been told by Chris, it's a pretty nice place to go and visit. It's only open for a couple of days, and we had other plans, unfortunately, so maybe something for another time, but for now it is what it is. There is a water hookup and a water empty waste area, which is for motorhomes. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure how they work. I've never had a motorhome and I've never really looked into it, but it's what we're told anyway. And then just up here there's a little side gate which allows you in and out of sight. So there's plenty of space. Up here is if you wanted to stay without electric hookup. So that does you quite nicely. All grassed, little hedgerow that's starting to grow around the sides. I mean, there's plenty of space on here. I think it's 0.75 of an acre, so more than big enough. We are set up in pitch number 3, and again there's more than enough space. There is a little access track road to the side, so there's a chap that lives further up in this sort of area here. He lives in a static caravan. Quite a pleasant bloke, to be fair. I spoke to him the other day. Seems really pleasant, so really nice. He's pretty much the only person that comes and goes. Apart from that, it's really quiet down this little track road. You've got a few of the horse riders that pop up and down, and it's part of the Great Load mine sort of trail, effectively. So you could probably look into it a little bit more, but there's a nice walk and a nice bike ride around this area, so if you're into that, certainly worthwhile doing. But as I say, absolutely plenty of space, so we're set up quite nicely. Car is just parked underneath the trees just for a bit of shade, just so when we're jumping into it, it's not absolutely roasting hot, especially for the dog. We were just joined by another new arrival. They've only come today. Haven't got a clue where they've gone. They've just popped out, so we've not spoken to them yet, not even seen them, but they popped along. My mother and stepdad, and there's Chanel dancing away in the doorway. I parked up there in pitch number 2, and again, more than big enough. I mean, they've got their air on and out, plus an air windbreak, and there's still plenty of space. We obviously chose to park a bit closer together, just because in the evenings we tend to sit out with a table, have something to eat, and just have a bit of a natter, which is quite nice to do. So we decided to park a bit closer, but obviously you don't have to. And then over in this area, this is where we say he has thought most things through. So dog waste bin, and then for all your recycling, so mixed glass, plastics, food tins, mixed papers, and your general waste, your grey water waste, which is effectively just a drain in the ground, but it does the trick. It's all you need. Your fresh water, just connected to a hose. I'm blocking it with this one. It's just connected by a hose, nice and straightforward. And for your toilet, for your house endpoint, it's quite nice, to be fair. With the first time we've had this in the CL, it's ultimately a shed with a toilet inside. So it gives you a nice bit of privacy. So ultimately it's not a big size, it is, but should it be busy and people knocking about, you've got a little bit of privacy whilst you're emptying the bog. So that side of it's quite nice. Well, dog's going for a sleep in there. But surrounded by ultimately fields. As far as you can see, it is fields. So you're nicely tucked out of the way. The loudest part of the site is the main road next to us, and you probably get a car pass by, I don't know, once every 2 or 3 minutes. It's not massively busy. Obviously some people prefer it to be a little bit more peaceful, but to us, you know what, it's alright, can't complain. There's more mum and stepdad taking my dogs for a walk, hence the barking, so apologies. But it's a nice little site. Chris, the owner that we're referring to, lives just over here. And again, it's a bit like I touched on earlier, he owns a motorhome himself, so he understands ultimately what a site needs. There's nothing we would really change, if I'm honest with you. It's been a nice day. I mean, we've been here for a week. It has been a really, really nice day here. A bit of a 360 around just so you can see. Cannot complain at all. And it's extremely close to a lot of the tin mines, hence why there's King Edward's Mine Museum up there. So that's one that's been preserved. The rest of them, although it's still standing, we were informed by a local, have never been preserved. It just shows that it's stood the test of time, they're well built, and they're worth walking up for a little lane that's at the side of us. If you follow all the way up, you can come up to one at the top and you can get hands on and really explore it, which is nice.
It's totally off subject, but have you told them about the bear?
I haven't.
So, I mean, a good few years ago now, we're talking years ago, the bloke that owned this site, before it was actually even a site, it was just land, he owned a brown bear, and they've still got the thing. Can I show you?
Yeah, the cages are still coming. So I didn't even touch on it, to be fair. The site is called Old Bear's Den, and as Chanel just noted, without recording too much of his property,
yeah,
he's just here, or where a brown bear was kept.
which looks really small from this side, but apparently from the other side it does go back a bit more. But yeah, and they went off to a rescue centre in the end, didn't they? No, they were rescued here, weren't they, from abroad?
They were rescued here from abroad, and then when Chris took the place over, they were then relocated somewhere else.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting because where'd you find out that someone used to own a brown bear as a bloody pet? I mean, you can't get away with that sort of stuff now, but still pretty fascinating now to the fact that the cages are still there. I wasn't sure if you'd told them.
I hadn't, no. But hence the name, Old Bear's Den. Hopefully, with a little tour, you enjoy enough of the site. And like I say, if you're looking at staying near the Camborne area, we highly, 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 highly recommend giving this site a go. We found it on a whim, and to be honest, absolutely over the moon over it.
We couldn't get onto another site because they were fully booked, and they recommended this site.
Yeah.
And it was the best decision we made, because the caravan in pitch 1, they only turned up today. So by the off chance, we've literally had the whole site to ourselves, which the dogs have loved because they've been able to run around. And he's been really understanding. Like, we checked and he was like, yeah, it's great, let your dogs run around, it's fine, it's really secure, which it is. They've not been able to escape anywhere, so that's been lovely for them.
And on that note, we will leave you to, hopefully. Like I say, if you decide to give it a go, give it a go. We don't regret it. We're happy we found it, and it's one to add to the list should we ever want to stay in this area again.
We'd definitely come back, definitely.
And on that note, enjoy.